Hi, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner.
And our dog, Betty White.
Your hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
Could we have named it something more creative? Probably. But it's the name of our blog. It's our last name. We're on an adventure. Yada, yada, yada. After owning our own business, working 24/7.
And don't forget a mental breakdown in between.
We made a lifestyle change and decided to make the most out of life.
We sold our house, most of our belongings, downsized, and moved to the coast.
We live life minimally, but fully.
We live each day as an adventure.
This show will help you learn how to live life more fully, with more intention, by experiencing more, and with less stuff.
We'll talk about our own experiences, interview others who have much to share by creating a spark in our lives.
Some days we'll share real-life ongoings of what we're going through, and others will talk about our favorite flavor of waffle.
Come join our adventure.
It's the Arner Adventures Podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Jerry.
Betty White, our golden girl, is hanging here with us, and we are back for episode 96 of the Arner Adventures Podcast.
We're getting closer and closer to that 100th episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're just so excited. We have a giveaway tied to it, so stay tuned to our social media platforms linked in the show notes. It's really, really exciting.
It sure is. Well, today's guest is someone who took a big leap to make a big change in his life, along with his girlfriend and dog, Bruce Lee. We love that name. You know what? They just made the nomad life happen. His name is Michael Andersen. He, his girlfriend, and his dog, Bruce Lee, live in an RV, and they're living their best life in the pursuit of happiness.
They sure are. This is one of those conversations that was in alignment with all that we value and love.
Yep. Are you just ready to go ahead and get to the conversation?
I'm ready to go ahead and get to the conversation.
Okay. Well, we told you a little bit about our guest, but we're going to dive in now. Our guest today is Michael Andersen, a veteran of the corporate event planning world. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, you can see him. We can't wait to talk about where he's coming to us from. But he's a veteran of the corporate event planning world for a whopping 2 decades. Life had other plans for him. So Michael, along with his partner, Andrea, and their charming pug, Bruce Lee, we love that, decided to toss their director level gigs and their cozy Asheville, North Carolina home out the window, opting for a wild nomadic ride in their revamped Class A RV, which they lovingly call Dolly, which is where he is today. As they zigzagged across the map, Michael noticed something missing in the nomadic universe, a one-stop shop for epic events. And voila, travelinggatherings.com was born. Michael's not just the event guru, he's the tech-savvy wizard too. He set up a web design company to help small businesses navigate the digital jungle. With his background in marketing and corporate events, Michael's latest obsession is launching a web design agency that dishes out high-quality, results-driven solutions to boost businesses. That is what we call a digital nomad with a mission. Michael, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shannon, for the kind words. I'll send you money later. That was great. That was great. I couldn't have written it better myself.
I mean, that's all you, right? That's everything. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, Bruce Lee, we love. Our dog's name is Betty White. So we're thinking that Bruce Lee and Betty White might get along really well.
Probably. And it's funny, my girlfriend's last car was Black Betty. So we're,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, we love the human names.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so tell the people who are on YouTube who can see it, but the people who are listening, tell everybody where you are coming to us from, and like literally where you're coming to us from.
So I'm inside our 2001 Dolphin Class A RV. It's 34 feet. I'm currently in the bedroom / office area. And we are in a town called Berrien Springs, Michigan, which is in the western coast of Michigan, like southwest corner. And yeah, we've been on the road for over a year, traveling our beautiful country in this RV that I'm currently in. And everything that could go wrong has, but, with a positive mentality. And I have a bunch of tools that we travel with. And yeah, we just keep trucking and keep checking out, new areas and discovering places that just have blown us out of the water, and some places that are a little lackluster, but yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Well, we met a couple, I guess now about 6 months ago. We were traveling and they had just recently sold everything, got an RV. And I remember we were sitting kind of together and she said, yeah, we either think that we're going to kill each other or it's going to make us a lot stronger as a couple.
Yes. And I will say, going from, gosh, our last apartment was around 1,300 square feet. We're in 188 square feet right now. We have only grown stronger as a partnership. Now, we're both very strong-willed humans. So, we do butt heads. But we have Bruce Lee there to kind of say, Mom, Dad, knock it off. But yeah, no, it's honestly no regrets. The only regret I have is not starting this sooner, at even a younger age. But yeah, I'm so glad that we've done it, and it's one of those bucket list things I get to check off. And when I'm old and grayer than I am, I can say, like, I once did this crazy thing.
I love it. Now, where did the name Dolly come from? Did you name the RV Dolly, or was it already named Dolly?
Correct. So we purchased Dolly. We were in Tennessee. So we were in Asheville, North Carolina at the time. And we were really close to Dollywood. And we bought it on a Saturday afternoon. That night, we stayed probably 10 minutes from Dollywood. Right. And we had like nothing with us. We like drove our car out and we got it. And I'm like, hey, we got to sleep in it tonight. And she's like, you're crazy. And so we like hit a Walmart, bought like blankets and, just garbage that we threw away quickly after. But yeah. And as we're sitting there, we're like, we got to call her Dolly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Dolly Parton. I'm not even like a country fan, but I was like, it's so apropos. So we had to do
it. And I know I'm not a country fan either, but I feel like everybody loves Dolly.
Of course.
So,
of course.
Yeah. It's very apropos. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of talk about the journey. I feel like every time we have someone on the podcast who is in this situation of either, like we sold everything and downsized, or people live a nomadic life, or that whatever it is, it's sort of an extreme change. There was a big catalyst that made them realize, oh, I need to do this, or, whether it's something that's exciting, something that's scary. So I always like to ask, coming from the corporate career and then, things completely changing, that's a big leap. So what was it that made you both decide you were going to take this leap? And then tell us about that journey, if you don't mind.
So it kind of goes back probably 3 years prior to us actually doing it. I have always been camping. My family, I'm originally from Chicago. My family were hippies in Chicago who love to go back to nature, so as a child was always out in nature, but then going back to Chicago, which is not, it's the opposite of that. So when I got together with Andrea, my wonderful partner that is in the RV, another space, she had actually never been camping ever in her life. And her family's version of roughing it is staying at a Hampton Inn, which I find funny because that's my like go-to,
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, right. So
I love the Hilton Honors.
Yeah, I was a diamond for a while. I'm not gonna lie, but it was just one of those things where, and I had purchased a shuttle bus prior to this RV when I was still in Chicago. Converted a 21-foot shuttle bus that you'd see, at any airport anywhere, into a tiny home on wheels, and that was just going to be for me. This was prior to dating Andrea. I designed it for one human. We went out on a couple of trips. We actually went down to Wilmington, North Carolina, went out to Utah, just to kind of explore. This was during COVID. And we were both furloughed, or I was furloughed. She had quit her job. And we had just tested it and kind of liked it, but weren't 100% there yet. Then I took a job in Asheville, which brought us to Asheville. We were there a year to the day of moving there. And it was towards the end where we were just kind of like, we thought that by leaving where we were, like I'm born and raised Chicagoan, Bears fan, unfortunately. I thought maybe life would be easier if it was in a different city, what I was doing for corporate event planning. And it turned out it was the same headaches, but with a different accent, so it was just something that, we were also top of the food chain. However, we couldn't afford to live in this town because it's such a tourist destination.
Yeah.
And it was also, we were looking at purchasing a home right when, the interest rates were so low and inventory was going away. And I remember the moment that it hit me was we were going to look at a double wide trailer on an acre of land that was asking $500,000. Crazy. What? And before we could even get an appointment, it went on the market at like 3 p.m. The next morning it had an offer, a cash offer. And I'm like, this is insanity. I can't live in a double
Right.
wide for $500,000.
Right.
And then like shortly after, I got a raise, and then that same day, like we got a lease renewal, and it was going to be more than what my raise was going to be. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I don't mind working hard. I'm a Midwest guy. I get up early. I roll up my sleeves. I still do it, but I'm not going to bust my butt to just give it to housing. It just seemed
Yeah.
silly to me.
Yeah.
And not that we didn't we absolutely love Asheville. Asheville is gorgeous. I mean, and to have actual bears like in our parking lot, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. First time I saw a bear, I freaked out. Like, oh, I want to hug it. Like, don't hug the
I
bears.
know.
Don't do it. It's bad. But yeah, it was just, we realized that there was nowhere up from there that we could go other than to like buy the companies we were working for, but we didn't really want to do that either. So we were like, let's rethink everything. And in a matter of like a couple of nights, we were like, let's go hit the road and go see, let's quit our jobs, which we need that push. And it's scary. It's super scary.
Mm-hmm.
However, things to our advantage is we never had children. So we didn't have that kind of locking us down. We also, at that point, didn't own any property. So it was very easy. Lease was up. It's easy to, wash your hands and walk away. And yeah, we had money in the bank, and it was like, I did the math, and I was like, we could spend, I think it was like $18,000 on an RV, pay cash. And that would have been our rent for 1 full year at our current rate in Nashville. So we did that. And yeah, and I haven't set an alarm since January, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
since July of 22. Yeah. Been over a year and something.
Okay. I can't even, I mean, it's like, I can't believe it, but we're very similar. We have very similar stories, us four. I think one of what you talking about renting, we sold our house, but now we are all about renting, because I feel like when you rent, we believe that you are paying for the opportunity. If you're not sure exactly what you want to do, you're paying for the opportunity to be able to leave anytime you want. So
Right.
I love that you were renting, because I was thinking, what did you sell? What did you do? And so my next question here is, we don't have kids either, but it's still, sometimes Jerry will say, well, we didn't have kids, so it's not like we had to worry about that situation, like a mouth to feed. I'm like, yeah, but we did have to worry about ourselves to feed and Betty to feed. So it's still a huge, I don't ever take away from it being scary. I think it definitely is. And we did the same thing. I'm wondering now, when you talk about the 1,300 square foot, now down to 100 and something square foot, what was that like? Were you, okay, the lease is up, we're going to buy this, and now we're going to sell everything? And was that hard?
Yeah, it was. Well, the hardest part is, so Andrea's a neat freak. I'm me. So it's in her, I say this very lovingly. Like if I set something down on a coaster for too long, it's gone, because she has detachment issues where she won't get attached to anything. So it was very easy, because she had actually quit her job like a month prior to I had. So we had like 2 months of like prep time to get out.
Okay.
And she was on Facebook Marketplace every single day, just listing stuff. And I would come home from work and we'd be missing half our furniture. And I'm like,
yeah,
where'd it go? And she's like, oh, here's a stack of cash. I'm like, all right, I'm not complaining. So we bought camp chairs, because we actually got rid of our like this beautiful sofa. We got rid of that like too early.
Yeah.
So then we're just sitting in this empty living room with like a TV on a box, because we only had like a TV left. Someone was ready to buy it. We just were like, we need at least just give us a week to sell it, because we like literally had nothing other than like a laptop. And yeah, it was easy. And honestly, my rule even to today, and I don't really keep to it every day, but it's like getting rid of 3 things every single day is like, I have 3 things. And that could be as simple as, whatever, like right now we've downsized so much, and I have so much stuff that we don't need. And it's really freeing to be rid of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And also just, it becomes a challenge of like, how little do you need to survive?
Yeah.
It turns out we don't need a lot.
Mhm.
And yeah, just kind of it just became a game that we play. And once again, I had Andrea who was like, I don't like that shirt. I'm like, but I'm wearing it. You know?
Listen, if you've been with us for a while, you have heard us mention that we receive a lot of inquiries from CBD brands every single week. We're not exaggerating on that. The more we started getting these CBD brands, we started going, well, what's the deal? And we started looking more into them and then talking to more people about it. But what we discovered, I mean, these are things you're putting in your body, right?
Mhm.
What we discovered is that not all CBD products are safe. Not all of them are created equally. There's just a lot of things you should pay attention to when it comes to CBD brands.
Yeah, and I mean that was all new to me. I didn't know a
Yeah.
whole lot about it. I just knew that was a kind of it's neon lights that flashed outside the convenience store. But
Right.
CBD, that's where Dan and Dan Hempworks came in. They provide an organic hemp flower infusions. Yeah, their products contribute to our daily routines, like managing our stress and promoting our restful sleep,
Which
which
you
is
need.
big for us. I especially need it. Boosted energy without the use of caffeine, although we kind of combine the two together a little
That's not, yeah,
bit.
we do sometimes put it in our
We
coffee.
put it right in our coffee.
That's
Yeah.
true, but you don't want the added caffeine.
Yeah. And as active as we are, it helps us in our recovery
Mhm.
from the stiffness and soreness
That's
we
right.
get from our 24/7 active bodies.
Well, I'll tell you, not
Mhm.
only do we love it, Betty White loves it. They offer a specialized CBD hemp flower infusion designed for pets. She is a regular user. She can attest if she could talk. But, she does. We use it on her food and we also make treats with it. And we're just big fans of the Dana Den Hemp Works around the Arner household.
Well, I asked her the one time, tap your paw twice if you like Danada, and she did it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's
Got
her
it.
way of speaking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can use our exclusive discount code Mindful35 to save 35% off plus free shipping. It's also available in the show
It
notes.
sure is. Give it a try and let us know what you think. And let's just go ahead and get back to the conversation.
Let's go back to the show.
It sounds like we were that way too. I was Andrea and Jerry was you. It was the same thing. I mean, he would say, I didn't know we were going to sell things so quickly. I'm like, well, somebody wanted it. Let's just go ahead and get rid of it. And I think, and I always felt like I was that way, but the lifestyle before and lifestyle now, it's two different Shannons, two different Jerrys. And you talked about getting rid of 3 things every day. Do you find even in a small space that the stuff trickles in and you're just
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I realized I was hoarding like lunch meat plastic containers that you get at, a grocery store. I had like 3 of those. I'm like, why do I have these? These are dumb. Like we
Yeah.
have like Pyrex and things that are nice
Right.
that you can store stuff in, but it was like, oh, I don't want to throw this away. I'll throw it away. It's just
Yeah.
recycle
Yeah.
it or whatever, but like
Yeah.
we don't need that sort of thing. We've got a whole cupboard and our kitchen is tiny, like everything is tiny, but there's
Yeah.
stuff that we haven't touched in a year that it's like baking sheets. I realized we don't have an oven, but I brought baking sheets. Why?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just dumb stuff that we may need it. Guess what?
Yeah.
We don't.
Just in case.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And so it
Yeah.
was honestly a lot easier to be rid of things once it started getting moving.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of hesitation when you're challenged with like, okay, I got to get rid of everything that we own, but I want this, I need this. There's that memory, and that turns out, but you're making room for new memories by getting rid of this one.
That's right. That's
Take
right.
a picture, put it online.
That's
what
right.
Facebook's for. Post a
Yeah.
photo of it.
That's right. I'm glad you brought up the stuff, the decluttering, more of a minimalist lifestyle. So I love a story of someone who was, corporate hustle culture. Everything's just, crazy, busy all the time. And then you shift to this major, different lifestyle. For us, we found that the whole lifestyle of having less stuff, it also was like the stuff here too, up in our heads. Do you feel that your more minimalist lifestyle does contribute to an overall sense of a better well-being mentally and physically?
Absolutely. We're not keeping up with the Joneses. We're not, I have friends back home who are, they're getting the new TVs, they're getting the new this or that, and we just don't have space for it. So it doesn't
Mhm.
even, there's not that whole side of that keeping up with the Joneses thing that is completely gone because we don't, we could get a bigger, newer RV, but it's like, well, that's a headache and we're not
Yeah.
going to do that. It definitely clears the mind, and when we go into a Target or something, we're only getting the bare essentials because we don't
Yeah.
have the closet space for, I actually just got rid of like 3 pairs of pants. I think I brought 6 on this trip. I got rid of 3 because I'm like, I don't need them. I don't have space for it. I don't wear them. I do have a suit that I travel with, that wedding and funeral suit, but like,
Uh-huh.
and that I realize it's too big on me now. It's like, so I'll
Yeah.
probably get rid of that, get a new one, but like, it's replacing, and that's something too. When you bring one thing in, take 2 things out. It's like really just, we can't stuff the cupboards any more than they already are. And the stuff that
Yeah.
we have is, it's a lot of essentials, and there is some frivolous stuff that we could be rid of, but no, it's a huge change mentally for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also we don't have to work as much because we don't have 2 cars. We have 1 car for 2 of us plus the RV, and it's a paid off car. It's like, everything's paid for. So
Yeah.
it really just takes that pressure away. When we want to go on vacation, turns out I'm on a river right now and I can go hiking out my door right now, and it's
Yeah.
costing me $30 a night, and that's awesome. What is
Yeah.
that? That's like, it's cheaper. Even if I was to stay at this place at $30 a night for the month, that's still cheaper than I was paying uh, in Asheville or Chicago for that matter.
Sure. Do you guys plan in advance, or do you just sort of hit the road and wherever you end up, or like, are you going now? Okay, after this, we're going to be here.
Yeah, we kind of plan regionally. So we spent about 4 months down in like California, Arizona, desert over the winter.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And we knew that like we wanted to be back to the Midwest. My family's in Wisconsin, hers are in Michigan, and
Uh-huh.
then we met in Chicago, so we have people there. We knew we wanted to spend the summer here between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Now we're way past Labor Day, and we're still in Western Michigan because it's one of those places that we've been all over the country, and we're like, we actually really like it here.
Mm.
So we're thinking about sticking around for the winter, which is crazy in an RV, but it's a challenge that might be accepted. So yeah, just for holidays and things. In worst case, you'll see us hightailing it to Florida.
Yeah.
When you see a blizzard, you'll see us like, go.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime we've ever talked about one day, if we did this, we were always like, we'll have to go to warmer climate. And every time I tell people that, like, if we were to go, okay, we're just going to go down, South Miami, the Keys or something, the first thing they say is, well, what if a hurricane comes? I said, then we'll get in the RV, we'll head up north.
No, and it's true.
My home's not going to go anywhere because it's going to go with me.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of it. You're going to accept the challenge. If it gets really cold and you can't handle it, you can always just leave.
Yep.
So
100%.
yeah.
And yeah, honestly, I planned out the first 2 weeks of our journey, like leaving Asheville. I'm an Excel spreadsheet guy. I had it
Mhm.
like, I had mileage, how much it's going to cost us, like all this stuff lined out. And then I just never touched it again because it's now whichever way the wind blows.
Yeah.
If it's, sleet storm here, tornadoes coming there, just don't go there or get away
Yeah.
from there. And that's, if it's too hot, go up in the elevation. If it's too cold up there, go down, so it's
Yeah.
something that you can avoid those sorts of weather patterns.
Yeah. You brought up about the suit, that it's too big. And I read that combined, you and Andrea have lost a combined of 65 pounds. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So, similar to us, I lost over 70 pounds when we made our
wow.
transition. Yeah, it was crazy. And whenever someone asked me, well, how did you do that? First of all, it happened right during COVID. So people automatically thought I had been sick or something. But when we did all of that, when they say, well, what did you do? I'm like, we literally left that hustle culture. We downsized, which got me outside more. It made me want to go outside and be more active. And so I started having a more active lifestyle. Is that sort of along the lines of what happened with you two as well?
Yeah, we fell into that trend that I think probably every single person falls into of come home from work, rough day, crack a beer, crack a bottle of wine, whatever the thing may be, start snacking from the minute you walk in the door to the minute you start cooking dinner. You're just snacking. Our thing was, cheap charcuterie, like
Uh-huh.
pull out meat and cheeses and
Yep.
breads and all that. And then drink until we fell asleep, and then rinse, repeat every single day. Weekends, get more blotto because now is my chance to let off some steam.
Yep.
And, not to say that I'm a raging alcoholic by any means, but it was something that
Yeah.
just became standard,
Yeah.
and since being on the road, we eat out maybe once every 3 weeks, just because we're not typically near places. We try to avoid cities as much as possible. So there just isn't places for us to go out dining. Andrea, within our first month, we met up with a bunch of great RVers that honestly changed everything for us through an event we went to. And one of the women was a health coach, and Andrea went on a program, and it was basically, eat less, eat it on certain hours, certain calorie amounts. Just by me being supportive and eating when she ate, I naturally shed 25 pounds just by doing that. And also by not falling into that routine of, when you're out RVing, you can start drinking at noon. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
You can fall into that camp easily, but I'm also, we left our job. So there was this new stress of how are we going to make money?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty motivated for the most part and don't sit still well, but yeah, it honestly just lean and green meals. And then, I didn't realize I was eating between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., like 6 p.m. is dinner every single day. And by not eating between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m., that was, I guess, what intermittent fasting, which I didn't even know I was doing.
Yep.
We both have Apple Watches, which we're very proud of. And these things are good to be like, get off your butt, get up, move. And we're blessed with that. We can step out our door and we're in someplace new that we haven't explored yet. And our dog needs to go on walks. So it's like,
that's right.
he's mad at us now because he's like, dude, not another walk. And we're like, come on, man, we haven't gone on this trail yet,
You're going to keep little Bruce Lee young. That's going to be great.
Oh, exactly. And he just, and it's a combination of that. It's moving. It's not having the stress of, I was dealing with Fortune 500 clients and, just having 10 clients yelling at me, or not yelling, but, just absorbing. The buck stopped with me. So it was like, there was no one I could pass this off to. And Andrew was the same way. And it was, just getting rid of that stress and being able to do whatever we wanted. The thing we wanted to do is get healthier, both mentally and physically. And it's an awesome byproduct that we didn't even plan for. And now,
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. And as a result, Andrea started coaching other people on weight loss. She's been doing, and she took some coaching courses during COVID as I took coding classes for web design.
Yeah.
So, we both are big fans of constantly educating ourselves. And she's been able to help people. She has a woman she's working with who type 2 diabetes, who her blood sugar has never been this great in the last 10 years. And it's just from changing what you bring in your body.
Absolutely. And the lifestyle. It's like a lot of it is the lifestyle as well. I'm wondering, you had the pressure of, a lot of that. I just think corporate pressure and it's a whole different ball game until when you become an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, and that is pressure as well. But like for me and a lot of people, I think it's a different kind of excitement pressure that you also can get creative. Does your environment, because of, you sort of create your own environment, do you feel like you're more creative in this lifestyle than you were before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Asheville is gorgeous, but I've always had a creative career. Event planning, you're supposed to be creative and make beautiful centerpieces and all that. And, which is fine, but then you're doing it for a bank, you're like, okay, my soul's getting sucked out for, whatever, non-disclosed Charlotte based company. But for web design, I mean, so traveling gatherings, for instance, I had in a dream, woke up the next day, knew what it was going to be called, knew what it was going to do. And we happen to be outside of Moab, Utah, and being in Moab, which is like this beautiful alien universe,
Yeah.
just staring out the window. And we had a really horrible weather actually while we were there, but like just staring out the window and being like, it was so inspirational. And I just, just kept the brain thinking outside the box, because I was truly as far from what I knew as possible, and and like even right now, it's like I'm staring out. Sure, that my neighbor's out smoking a cigarette right now. I'm watching that right now, but there's rivers and forests, and just by changing up, your viewpoint is just, it's amazing. I'm a big proponent of it, and I recommend it to anyone, especially in a creative field, especially in a stress induced field, like being able to just go, this is super hippie of me, but go hug a tree, and it's amazing what it gives you. It's like,
I know, like it's just get outside. If you could just get outside, that's even, it's weird. We even say sometimes we'll find ourselves, just like you just talked about hugging the tree. I said recently, I never used to walk past a tree and touch it. Like, what am I even doing? Like, that's so strange. I'm like, what does that feel like? I just feel like I'm in a different mindset than I used to be with our other lifestyle.
Oh, and being barefoot in grass, I was like, my mind exploded one day. I was like, there's that stress of not having a job anymore. And then I had no idea what I was going to do. I honestly had no clue. And I had enough savings where it didn't matter at first, but then you're like, okay, I got to get something going.
Yeah.
And just taking the shoes off and walking in grass, I was like, I feel so much better.
Well, your business, the traveling gatherings, did that come about? I know you said it was a dream, but I mean, did it come about because of your lifestyle? And
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we attended, there was this thing called the RV Entrepreneur Summit, and it was basically people who travel full time in RVs, and it's a lot of content creators, a lot of YouTubers, podcasters, etc. And they didn't do it this year, unfortunately, but it was very geared towards your YouTuber group, which is a law. Actually, if you're in a full-time RV, you need to have a YouTube channel. I do not. It's a joke, but but I kind of walked away from it though, thinking like I want to do something in the space because I'm in it. And there are events that happen all the time. So it was just a matter of, what is the thing that I know that I can contribute back to this thing that I'm doing? And that's how I came up with it. And it was like, I don't want to do corporate events moving forward. I am still, but not as much as I was. And taking that expertise, taking the web design and marrying those two together, and boom, it's there.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it literally, I woke up and like one morning was like, I know the name. I know what I'm going to do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So the concept of that is what? Like, tell us.
Basically, so, and I call it RVers I just did this van life summit recently, which was like pretty funny because there are van lifers, there are RVers, there's schoolies, there are people traveling cars, people traveling motorcycles. There are all these different subsects of RVing, which is this greater umbrella. So there was no one place that gathered all these different niches together. And my goal is to have, whether you're a schoolie or, there's a whole full-time family where it's people with full families traveling full-time. There are all these different things going on. And unless you were a member of a specific Facebook group, you'd have no idea it existed.
Right.
So I put it all together in one platform, and I added, I've got farmers markets on there. It's something else, a challenge when you're traveling all the time. The normals everywhere are Walmart and Dollar General. Neither of them are known for their produce. So finding that local farmers market is huge.
Yeah.
So I've got, I think I don't know. I've got a ton of farmers markets on there. I am covering the continental US. So, if like Michigan, I think I've got a couple hundred on there. I'd have to look at the stats. I don't know off the top of my head. But I really try to focus on one state, get as many as I can. And then, RV shows, oh gosh, I forget the different categories. I should know this like back of my hand.
Well, I looked at it. I looked at it, and I was actually, I just wanted to make sure. I was actually thinking, we've had a guest on the podcast who her husband and her two kids and their two cats live an RV lifestyle now. They actually lived in the North Carolina mountains and also sold everything. But I remember her saying she misses having her garden. And so she misses like going and finding fresh produce. And so when I saw it, when I started looking at it, I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if that's something that, she should tap into. And it sounds like it's a wonderful resource. And also, I think so many times in life, someone who doesn't really know about something tries to come up with a solution. You're like, but wait a minute, have you done that? Have you been there? Have you been in the trenches and known? So the fact that you're actually experiencing this and know what people are looking for is like a whole other ballgame. It makes you more of an expert as to why people should go to that and
100%.
have it as a resource.
Yeah, 100%. And it's something that, I'm intentionally taking that a very slow growth. I think I'm at like 700 Instagram followers. I'm not putting a lot of stock into Instagram and Facebook. I'm trying to do a lot of Pinterest outreach right now. I think category. And obviously, this with the blog, just trying to, I recently, and also through my web design clients, I'm on Ahrefs every single day, staring at, way too much, being a nerd.
Me too.
Yeah, let me just look at. Oh, it looks like my domain authority's gone up one. Oh, okay. Oh,
I do the same thing, but I live and die by it. So then if it like drops, I'm like, what did I do? Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
And my goal is Mediavine. Are you guys on Mediavine?
No, we're on now it's Raptive.
Okay.
Ad Thrive. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're up there, bro. Yeah, no, that's
but I
amazing.
stalk it, and it's like but that's so funny because I didn't know anything about any of that before we started our blog, and I thought I'm just gonna journal. It's gonna be great. Well, nobody cares about if I'm just not putting strategy behind it. So that's so funny. But no, when you said that about Instagram. I'm thinking, well, the situation. Who cares? Because what you need to care about is your website, which is your home. And I always say, Zuckerberg does something stupid, or look at Elon. That whole situation. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to control our community. I want our community to be able to come to our space, our website, and like you were talking about, to traveling gatherings and have your community there. That's what's important. Audience. Yes.
Well, I would not have started designing other people's websites if it were not for traveling gatherings as well. So it's kind of a funny, that was my confidence booster. I'd always designed them, but it was for friends and family, and it was for my own personal projects. And by doing it, I was like, and even that site I haven't touched since I probably put it up. So I'm like, that's so outdated right now, but the plumber's sink is always leaking or something, whatever that is.
Yes.
But, but just taking everything I've learned, and especially via blogging and podcasting, and I've done a ton of content creator websites as well, where they've got their YouTube channel, but they don't know that audience. And it's like, you've got to get that mailing list going. And that is the important thing, and that's, and I've progressed past content creators specifically, but there's, even from just your mom and pop small town business, you need to have that audience, and it it drives traffic, whether you know it or not.
Oh, 100%. We come across people who just have a TikTok channel, and, and I'm just like, no, you've got to get a website. You have to get a website. Oh, it just scares me to think about, is that how you're making your living? You've got to have a website.
Yeah, your algorithm's going to change, and
that's right.
It's going to be gone.
That's right. That is right. That's right. Well, I would like to ask you, a lot of our listeners are thinking about a big change. Anytime we have a guest on who has done something, which, the most people consider out of the norm, out of the box. We love stuff like this. So we sort of consider it, who cares, if it's not the norm. But a lot of our listeners are looking at things like this thinking, oh, I wish I could do it. Or, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to get my mindset right? So I'm just curious what advice you would have to someone who is maybe thinking about a big change like yours, maybe easing into something, maybe it's starting a new business. Like, you took a leap. You guys took a leap. And I'm just curious what advice you would have for someone who may be thinking about taking a big leap.
My advice would be, first off, just do it. Number one, just do it. If it's something, if you've thought about it for more than a few days or a few weeks, it's something that it's going to eat you alive if you don't do it. So, it's a challenge. It is scary. But once you're there, everything it all changes for the better.
Yeah.
And granted, there could be some, roadblocks along the way that might not be, but, set yourself up for success, take baby steps out the gate, and write stuff down. I mean, I'm constantly note taker, but like write down your goals. We had our little goal list of what are we going to do when we're on the road. And this is like the first night we talked about it. And I found that note recently and I was like, oh, we're doing this plus more, but it's like, you can't be the change unless you do the change. Like I never would have started designing websites if I had not made that leap. And it was scary, but I just knew that like, if I stuck with that job, I'd be there for 10 more years and I would hate myself every single day for it. And, yes, there are new challenges that I, did not foresee, but at least I'm in a mindset where I can tackle those challenges and, and progress beyond them. So I don't know. I just say, just do it. The worst thing that'll happen is you have a great story, and just, we are in a situation now where it's like, what are we going to do next? Like we are kind of nearing that end of the chapter and want to see what's next. And we're like, we're in a great position to like, it's gonna be the easiest move in if we go back to a house because we have no furniture. It's just gonna be Amazon showing up every day, like lamp over there.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to go back to a normal house?
Yeah, I think what's next is definitely small town America. Once again, I am born and raised in Chicago. If you asked me this 10 years ago, I would have told you you're crazy. But I want a garden, I want chickens, and I want to be left alone. That's like and we're gonna have a very small house where guests will stay staying in the RV.
Yes.
We'll keep that around. But it's I think eventually, and there are some things that while constantly moving, it's that sense of never being familiar with where you are. It's kind of, that becomes a challenge.
Yeah.
But that's really that, and things breaking all the time. But
yeah. You've probably had to get a little more crafty when it comes to things like that than you used to be.
Yeah. Well, I did the entire solar that we have. I mean, I've done everything on this. We've never hired out for anything on this thing. So I've gotten our own approach, everything else we've done ourselves.
Last question before we get to your fast five. How was the transition for Bruce Lee?
Oh, he loves it. He, it's funny. When we do go stay with friends and family, we actually stay in the RV 99% of the time. He will run to the RV. Like he loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Wow.
And you say, car ride is his word. And he's like, wait, where are we going next? I'm so excited. He is peed in 33 states,
That's amazing. How many dogs can say that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's 7 or 8. I should know this.
That's so great.
I'm a bad dad.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. No, you're a great dad. You guys are great pet parents. In fact, someone told me recently, we always say we're dinks, double income, no kids. And a guest told me recently that we were dinkwads. Dinks, double income, no kids with a dog.
Hilarious. Yep.
So dinkwad, that's what you guys are too.
While we may eat ramen on occasion, he gets gourmet food always.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. We go without a lot of things, but we've never downsized her toys. And it's crazy. Like when I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, why are we doing this? You've got so many toys, but I can't take them away from her. It's just like, she has to make the decision and she can't do that.
I totally understand.
Okay. So we have your fast 5 questions. It's just a this or that way to get to know you a little bit better. Okay. And you might have answered some of them already, but number 1, roadside diners or cooking meals in the RV?
Oh, cooking meals in the RV. Hands down.
Okay. Number 2, mountains or beaches?
Ooh, this one's tough. I got to go 50-50 on this.
Okay.
Two memories. Hold on. And I don't want to eat up too much time, but Ouray, Colorado.
It's never fast 5. It's never fast.
Okay. Ouray, Colorado is this beautiful, beautiful mountain town. Gorgeous. It's like being in the, I don't know. It's just this otherworldly place. Ouray, Colorado. Ouray. Okay. It is this gorgeous place. However, some of my favorite memories is also like being camped on the Gulf of Mexico, like just on a beach and being there and waking up to the sound of the Gulf, whatever. But just absolutely gorgeous. So I guess downside of the beach is I've never had rust on a vehicle before until like our rims will get rusty pretty quick.
Yeah.
But both have a soft spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can see it. They both serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, scenic drives or challenging hikes.
Oh, wow. I would say scenic drives. I'm a
Okay.
big fan of, we take a lot of country roads. I try to stay off interstates. Big fan of beautiful, get a podcast going, listen to you guys, catch up on some podcast episodes, stare at some, especially now, the fall colors here are gorgeous.
Oh, I bet.
Absolutely gorgeous here.
I bet it is. Okay. Number 4, national parks or hidden gems.
I would say national parks, maybe.
Do you guys stay in more hidden? I mean, do you guys stay in more national parks when you RV or?
A little bit. We do a lot of boondocking, which is basically, camping in the middle of nowhere with no services. So that's our preferred, like we're in an RV park right now, not as, it's good for camaraderie and whatnot, but it's a tough one. I do have my America the Great Pass or whatever it's called. And this is funny. We actually were at the Grand Canyon twice recently, which were like, okay, boring. Who says that about the Grand Canyon? We do, but it is a beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's one of those like, okay. So, but those hidden gems are also awesome. Like I found a brewery in New Mexico that was an old junkyard turned brewery. And it was so cool. It was so cool. The beer was all right, but the thing was amazing. I'm a beer nerd. I don't drink nearly as much as I used to, but I respect.
That's really cool. Yeah, my husband is too, Jerry, and he loves if we travel somewhere. He wants to know, do they have a local brewery, or do they make beer here? Or what is the local beer? Do you have it? He loves all that stuff, and that is exciting about traveling somewhere. It's like same thing with coffee. Like you can have coffee, anywhere you go, and same thing. Okay, number 5, and we ask this of most people. Jerry thinks it's a really great way to get to know somebody. Ketchup or mustard?
Oh, mustard, 100%. And to back that up, I'm once again, not to say Chicago again, but
I knew you were going to talk about Chicago with this.
Chicago hot dogs, no ketchup.
I know.
Yeah. And we have, I think, in our tiny little RV fridge, I think 4 different mustards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're a little bougie. We're bougie, We're in an RV park and bougie.
Well, you talked about your charcuterie setups earlier, so I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah, we have Prosecco in the fridge, gotta have and good beer.
That's amazing. I love it.
And then all these chips.
Bougie. I love it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, and the question that we do ask everyone is, Michael, what does a life well lived mean to you?
I think a life well lived is like not getting out of bad situations. I mean, that's kind of my biggest takeaway is like, we weren't happy. Go find your happiness.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, aside from don't kill people. That's bad. Yeah. But just pursue whatever makes you happy. That's like the best thing that I can recommend. And if there's some sadness along the way, just know that, peaks and valleys, gotta get there. But yeah, go explore more, go do stuff, leave your couch.
I love when you said earlier, about the advice about just do it. Just do it. 100%. Because there's so many things that, and we still have some of those that's scary, but there's so many things that I know we have done. And I just thought we can't, there's no way and if I had always gone with that mindset, we would have never done anything. So, sometimes you have to take the scary leap and then to get to where you want to be. So you're a prime example of that.
Yeah. No, and money, right now, money can be made anywhere. So that's not an excuse,
Right.
We could always get a job doing something we don't want to do temporarily, but temporary. Just do it.
Yeah. Well, tell our audience where they can find you, where they can find Traveling Gatherings, all of that. And we're going to link it down in the show notes.
Yeah, travelinggatherings.com, event listings for travelers by travelers. We're on Instagram, Facebook, what is it? Threads. I guess I'm on there. I've never really used it. But that's at Traveling Gatherings. Myself, I'm at that Andersen guy. Andersen is a goofy spelling with an SEN, and I'm everywhere. ThatAndersenguy.com, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And yeah, that's the best way to find us. You can follow, go to either one of those and you'll be able to find Bruce Lee the Pug. He has his own Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
I did not know
bruceleethepug.com.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
There was an afternoon of margaritas, so I was like, I wonder if Bruce Lee the pug.com is available, and he had a website that afternoon. So,
oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
well, with that being said, what if someone wants to talk to you about website development?
ThatAndersonGuy.com. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I run everything through That Andersen Guy. I'm a solopreneur, and I do hire out when I've got too much going on. But but otherwise, it's me doing it. And yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome. This has been so lovely. And I'm so glad that you came to us from inside of Dolly. I think that's great. That's so great.
All this. And actually, here's a picture of, that's the Blue Ridge Parkway, like a shot from that. So
do you know, I was looking in the background and I was thinking, are those like bright green trees? Is that what is? And I just didn't know for sure if that's what that was, but it is.
We bring North Carolina with us everywhere.
You do.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being here. This was so lovely. And please tell Andrea and Bruce Lee that we said hello.
I will. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Well, Jer, you just listened to that conversation. What do you think? Did you have big takeaways from that conversation?
Well, I take away somebody that is just right in line with our soul and spirit as far as what they're doing. Yeah, and they just great for them, and glad that they could make that happen.
You know, one of the things that ever since you have seen it and listened to it, but one of the things you have said is we really need to do that. Get rid of 3 things a day,
Oh yeah. And that was a big takeaway for me, because I realized that we had set up some things to get rid of things like our 30-day declutter challenge and that, but our lifestyle kind of changed, where a lot of things were coming in here due to what we do, and we never really adjusted to that.
Right.
And
right.
Like everybody, you don't realize how it's piling up.
Right. That's true. I love that they did it. I love that they found Dolly near Dollywood, and they were like, you know what? We're just going to do it. We're going to sell our stuff and just do it. And that's kind of what we did. Like, we didn't think too much about it. We just had to do it. And it's like when he said, if there's something that you're interested in doing, you just got to take that leap. You just got to do it, you know?
It's definitely a leap of faith. Yeah. And if you think about it, it won't happen.
Right. That's true. You'll never be ready.
Yeah, you won't. And they made it happen, and bravo to them. If this episode resonated with you, or if you know of someone who would benefit from anything we talked about today, or any episode, our guests, or anything, please share it with a friend. It's a great way of supporting the podcast and us, and we really appreciate it.
Another way of supporting the pod is by leaving us a 5-star review or rating on the platform you're listening to us on. Oh, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because that also supports us. We would love that.
You can always find us, links we refer to during the show, and any of the podcast sponsors at arneradventures.com, or linked here in these show notes. And until next time, enjoy that journey you're on. We're wishing you lots of adventures.
Adios.
Arrivederci.
Au revoir.
Adios.
Sayonara.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Dos Vidiniana.
And adios.